What's going on, YouTube? K-Rider here again, and we're still working with the Mazda Speed 6, affectionately known as Big Red Buddy. We're looking at the wheel right now because, or actually the CV shaft, because if you saw the very first video that I posted, we had hit some type of a tarp or a bag or something, and it damaged the CV joint. Boot, it damaged the brake line. I've replaced that, and rather than replacing just the boots, the inside and the outside, I've decided that I'm just going to go ahead and replace the entire CV shaft. It seems like it'd be a little easier of a job than replacing the boots, so we're going to give it a shot and see how it goes. The camera is being held real steady, by the way, because I bought a fancy tripod with this little nifty remote off of Amazon, and I'm pretty happy about that. So anyhow, I might post information below about the tripod and the little remote. It came as a package deal. If I figure out how to do that, I'm baby steps. I'm Gen X and I don't understand all this stuff all that well, so but I'll try and get you the information as best as possible. So let's get at it. So just to give you a close-up of what everything looks like in here, you can see the boot right there, or what's kind of left of it. It kind of got peeled all the way back. It was torn, and the brake line that you see here, that's the new brake line. That's the stainless steel brake line that I installed a couple videos back. But the game plan is to disconnect, and again, I apologize for the not knowing the name of all the parts, but again, I'm not a mechanic. So but the plan is to take this nut off here and disconnect this. I'm not sure. I think this is called the knuckle. So disconnect the knuckle and go from there. My understanding is that I'm eventually going to have to disconnect the wishbone as well, because I don't believe that the shaft, once I get it loose, will fit through the opening of the wishbone. So I think I have to disconnect that as well. But I'll try and film that as best as possible, and we'll go from there. And well, I guess it's time to get started. Okay, so first things first, one of the things I need to do is remove the nut here. And one of the things I have to do is get that little indentation out in order to be able to do that. So I'm going to hit it with a hammer, try and pop that out a little bit, straighten that out so that I can hopefully leverage this somehow. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put some type of a bar, crowbar or something here on the ground, so it'll leverage it while I turn, and the bar holding it down in place while I turn will hopefully work for me. So I've seen other people do it on YouTube, and we're going to give it a shot. So here we go. Okay, so I'm trying to give you a close-up here of what it is that I was talking about. This little area right here was indented, so that's to keep the nut from actually working its way loose. So when you put these nuts on, you actually hit it with a little punch or a screwdriver or something just to dent it in, so it'll help lock it in place. Another note is, once you take these off, you have to replace that. So don't reuse that nut. Just bear that in mind, that when you have to do work on your CV shaft, be it the boot or the entire thing, you'll want to get a new CV nut as well. So keep that in mind. All right, so just to show you what I was talking about, what I am planning on doing is, as I said before, I'm using this bar here to keep this from the wheel from rotating by setting it up like this. I can actually pull down on my breaker bar while this holds the wheel from spinning, and hopefully that'll work. For this little project, again, I'm using my breaker bar, and I bought this kit off of Amazon. It's a 9-piece impact socket set from Amazon. It's the Wet brand. I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not sponsored by anybody but my wallet. And so I did buy that, and I bought everything you see. I buy myself. So but hopefully this will work, and we'll see. Well, after thinking about it for a second or two, I decided to go ahead and film this part and see if it'll actually work. So here we go. Ugh. Well, that's really on there. I'm gonna have to come up with plan B. Okay, so plan B, I took the handle off of my my floor jack, and I'm gonna use this for leverage. Hopefully, I'm hopeful that this will work now. So let's give it a shot. Well, that ain't working very well. I might have to use my impact tools for this. Okay, so that was an epic failure. It bent the little bar for my other jack a little bit, so I stopped. I went to get my 30-gallon air tank, which is downstairs, and my impact wrench, and so that's the next plan that I have in mind. The problem is that I am missing the female end to my quick disconnect for the air tank, so it does me no good right now. So I will stop by Harbor Freight tomorrow probably and pick up the female end, and we'll try it again, and hopefully it'll work. I'm hopeful that it'll work. In the meantime, I'm going to continue to spray it down with this penetrating oil, see if I can get this nut loosened up a little bit, and I don't know, we'll see. So this will be continued. Today is Thursday, by the way, September 28th, I believe, or something. So I'm going to give it a shot for tomorrow. Okay, so we're back today. This is like 3 or 4 days later, and there is my impact socket set. As you can see, there's my air tool, and I'm grateful for that tool, because after last attempt of trying to get that nut off, y'all saw the outcome of that, which was I bent the bar to my older jack, which I plan on repairing. So there is my impact set, and with that I was in fact able to remove that nut, and it was quite easy actually. So also I have a rather large 32-gallon air tank, air compressor. I've had that thing now for over 20 years. I think it came from, based on the fact that it's Husky, I think it came from Home Depot, and that is probably one of the best purchases I ever made, just because of the fact that I've had to use that a number of times. But again, with the impact tool, my air wrench, I was able to, or air tool rather, I was able to get that nut off. So not only that, but honestly, I'm not a mechanic, but when it comes to working on cars, I honestly believe that this is one of the coolest sounds. So that's just me. If you agree, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. But I'll keep at it. Oh, one last thing. So I have a lot of irons in the fire today. I'm working on removing the CV shaft, although I don't have the new one yet. I'm removing that one. I've taken the caliper apart. You can see some of the parts right here. And I have decided that I'm going to paint them. So I've got them, for the most part, painted black right now. The other thing that I've done is I removed the center caps from my rims. The M's I removed off of them, so they're inside. They're the little chrome M's that go in the center pieces of my my rims. I know a lot of guys don't like the stock rims. I happen to like them, so I will not be replacing them. I was just going to paint that center portion red, and I'll put the M's back on. So I'll keep at it, and I'll let you see how it turns out. Okay, so I told y'all that I was painting calipers, and I showed y'all a little bit ago I was painting calipers black, and the little round holes that go in the in my rims red. But one of the things that I figured I'd do was I figured this would be a nice touch to paint this part of the the rotor also to match the calipers. I actually debated doing this in red. I've got this red here, but I decided to just continue on with the black and paint this portion black. That way it'll match the calipers. And I figured maybe that'll be a nice little touch. Plus it'll keep the rust off. This is actually the only part that's actually visible from once you put the tires back on. So I do get a little overspray on the brake itself, but I wipe that down with some brake free that I've got sitting around here somewhere. But the first thing I did was I sanded this down using my drill and a wire brush and got all the rust off, and then I hit it with some primer. And it's the same primer that I use for the calipers, which is this Rust-Oleum high heat primer. I bought this at Summit Racing along with the paint that I'm using. And as you can see, I'm in a garage, so I am using a respirator. So anyhow, stay tuned, and I'll let you see how it comes out. Hopefully good. Okay, so here it is, how it's coming out so far. And I'm somewhat satisfied, but let me show you what I'm doing on the other side, just to show you, because the prep work does make a difference. And that little edge in the surrounding, a lot of that gets taken out by the brake pads themselves. So don't focus too much on that. It'll make a nice crisp line. I'm trying to avoid getting as much paint on the actual brake itself, on this portion of the brake. But let me show you what I'm doing on the other side that I think will be better than just spraying it and then cleaning it off. Okay, hopefully y'all can see this. I'm not sure how the lighting's coming out, but I decided to use tape, and so I just taped off the entire brake pad. Not the brake pad, the rotor itself, I guess. And so now all I'll do is just spray, and my cleanup will be a lot easier. I noticed that when I'm cleaning on the other side, it's taking me a while. So I just decided, why not just use tape and cut down on some of the cleaning. So we'll see. Okay, so for shits and giggles, here's what the caliper looks like as it is pulled out of the Mazda Speed 6. And here's what it looks like afterwards. So I just want to give you a comparison of how big of a difference I'm hoping that'll make. I know it's a minimal part that doesn't show off so much when you're driving down the road, especially when they're in black, but hopefully that's going to pop. So we'll see. All this effort, I'm hoping, is worth something. Okay, and just to show you, after about 15 minutes of grinding down with my, I don't know if grinding down is the right word, but with my DeWalt drill and that wire brush on it, I've gotten it pretty clean. I hit it with brake cleaner earlier on and waited for that to dry, and then I hit it with that little wire brush, and it has taken everything off pretty well. So next step is to completely disassemble it, finish cleaning it up with that wire brush and another one. I'll hit it with some isopropyl alcohol, wipe it down with it, and then I'll hit it with primer and then paint. So I doubt I'll get to it today, but in fact I know I won't, because I'm about to call it quits so I can grab something to eat. So I'll continue this on possibly tomorrow. Okay, a little update. As I've told you before, if you are planning on doing a job on a Mazda Speed 6, regardless of how many tools you have, you're going to need more. And today is definitely no exception to that rule. So when I took the rear calipers off to paint them, here's part of it right here. So I decided to paint them black, obviously. I realized that the piston on these is one of these you have to screw in, and so I needed a tool for that, and I ended up going to O'Reilly's and buying this little cube, and it looks like this, at least in my case, for this purpose, I'll use the one with the 4 points. Each side has something different. Some of them are two, they're rounded, different variations of it. This one just has two, and again, this one is the 4 point. And so that fits snug, and I mean really snug in there, and it fits perfectly. So I think that's what I'm going to use. As you can see, I just attached it to it, I pressed it in, and it's holding in place. So that's the 4 point one, and it works perfect for the Mazda caliper. The part number on this is from O'Reilly's, and it is W80621, and there it is right there. Hopefully you can see that, W80621. This part was only I think like $13 or something at, again, O'Reilly's. So yeah, another piece of equipment that I had to buy in order to repair the Mazda, and I'm sure there's a couple others. Oh, well, there is actually, because I'm getting ready to do the oil change on this, and I bought the 76 millimeter by 14, I believe is what it is, tool that I got off Amazon. I should be getting that in tomorrow, so I'll be doing an oil change while I'm under here and doing everything else. I'm also going to go ahead and replace the brake pads, at least the rear ones. The front ones look good. The rear ones are wearing unevenly, and so in fact, let me get those for you. Hang on for a second. Okay, so here are the rear brake pads for my Speed 6. Just to show you what they look like. They're relatively thinned out. I don't know how thick these are when you first buy them, but what I can show you is that they are wearing unevenly. I think you can probably see that. Let's see if I can show you. But right there, you can sort of see how they're wearing. One, I believe this was the inside, and this is the outside piece. Nope, this is the inside piece, and this is the outside piece. But you can see how, for some reason, they're wearing unevenly. So I'm going to go ahead and buy new pads, and while I've got everything taken apart, and go ahead and put those on. I've already done some cleaning. I've re-lubed the, well, I'll take that back. I haven't re-lubed the pins yet because, again, I don't have the pads. So once I get all that, I'll go ahead and get it done and put it back together, hopefully, without any extra parts, and we'll go from there. So stay tuned. All right, YouTube. So I've decided to go ahead and cut this video off. I've been working on this portion of the project for the past week or so, and that's because every time I would get to a different part of it, I would have to buy more tools or more parts or whatever the case may be. So right now, I have continued with all the irons in the fire between painting the calipers, the rotors, trying to get the CV shaft assembly out, to painting the little round sections of the rims. And so each of those things has taken up a lot of time. So everything did not work like I anticipated, and I ran into little blockades here and there. So I'm just going to make a second video, because I'm sure by now this video has taken quite some time. When you look at all the different sections of it that I've recorded. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut this one off, and there's gonna be a part 2. So just stay tuned for that. Hopefully I'll start that part tomorrow, because I'm planning on buying the brake pads tomorrow. So we'll continue on with the project. All right, so we'll see you next time. If you have any questions, please let me know, and leave me a comment or something, just to know that I'm not alone out here. Somebody's watching. Thanks.